Yo, how's it going? This is Pro Wrestling Reviews. We're going to be reviewing the March 18th episode at Daly's Place, which was supposed to take place at Rochester, New York, but was, of course, moved to Daly's Place because of this whole coronavirus pandemic that's apparently going on. So, anyway, we're going to get right into it. The viewership for this was 953,000, I believe, something like that, and it was up 22%. So that's great for AEW to get such a boost in viewership. That's really incredible. So we're just going to I'm going to talk about the whole show in order. I'm going to talk about the opening promo, and then I'm going to talk about the matches, and everything here was a tag match. There was no one-on-one match, so there won't be a list of individualized moves. I only do that for the singles matches, but there will be a grade on these matches, and I'll give a blurb, and then we'll talk about it. First one is Best Friends versus Lucha Brothers. This match started on somewhat of an annoying pace as the Lucha Brothers continuously gave leg and shin kicks. After this, there was a flow of back and forth of offensive moves and counters. However, the match broke down to back and forth fighting as all four men fought outside the ring, during which Chuck Taylor ran right past the front of the camera on the outside of the ring and absolutely nailed Rey Fenix with a fiercely powerful lariat that sent the Lucha Brothers sailing and flipping into the air to crash hard on his back. There was powerful moves back and forth at this point, such as package pile drivers, DDTs, and to end it off, the Lucha Brothers nailed the strong zero to Trent to put away the Best Friends for the win with their own finishing move. In summary, it was a mismatched pace and too much out-of-ring action, yet finished with powerful moves. 7.5 out of 10. The Lucha Brothers were voted the best tag team in the world by CBS and by a Wrestling Observer newsletter, or Dave Meltzer. They didn't get number one. I think they got number 2 by Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So they're obviously considered a huge, phenomenal tag team. I personally don't like them much. I mean, they've got some power offense, they've got some technicality, but with the Lucha Brothers, there's too much striking and flipping for my taste. The Best Friends went a long way with this match, not only because the Best Friends defeated the Lucha Brothers here, but also because Chuck Taylor, man, his last match against Pac, it was just incredible, just absolutely incredible in Denver, Colorado. And then here tonight, he was a lot more physical. I remember Jim Cornette saying that he wasn't great, he wasn't good of a wrestler. I would urge him to watch Chuck Taylor's match against Pac last week on March 11th in Denver, Colorado, and then watch his performance here, because he's definitely making some good progress here. That was an enjoyable match for sure. Now we go to the Women's Fatal 4-Way, which I am so happy to not have women's tag matches, have women's Fatal 4-Ways. At least somebody gets moved forward with a win. But anyway, Women's Fatal 4-Way, Shida versus Kris Statlander versus Riho versus Penelope Ford. Blurb, and then we'll talk about it. A breath of fresh air into a women's division that has thus far done nothing but infuriate everyone. The whole match made sense, and a lot of the silly moves like a handstand backspring elbow when she stands on her hands and bounces off the ropes and then comes back with the elbow. Well, anyway, that stupid move was countered by a drop kick to the back from Shida that sent Penelope Ford into the ropes on her face. The match continued on with back and forth momentum, with each opponent pulling up counters that ended in powerful moves landed back and forth. Each woman in the matchup showed great improvement in their physicality and involvement in the match, except Riho, who always struggles to manage running knee strikes and top rope double foot stomps. That's about all she can manage to do before her enemies recover. Shida finished off the match with Falcon Arrow followed by a running V-trigger. In summary, logical flow to the match with barely any slow spots. 8 out of 10. Definitely 8 out of 10. This is the best women's Fatal 4-Way match. This is one of the 2 best matches I have ever seen, in all of AEW. The only other match for the women's division, the only other women's match I can think of that was this good, I believe it was Hikaru Shida versus, I believe it was Shanna, Man, that was might have been Shanna. It was the person's Shida's opponent. It was their debut. But this match was awesome. There wasn't silly shit. There wasn't stupid moves. They weren't all like lined up in the corner and then the person runs at them like Sakura did at one episode of I think it was Dark. Like, this made sense. It was a good match. It was physical. It was technically proficient. Like, as people were getting hit and how they were stumbling, and then the follow up interaction between the two competitors from that point, like, everything made sense. It was a good match. I'm so happy about this. This right here puts this episode ahead way, way more than last week. So definitely 8 out of 10 for that. Now we're going to talk about the Butcher and the Blade versus Jurassic Express. Hikaru Shida, she won the Women's Fatal 4-Way. The Butcher and Blade versus Jurassic Express. Brute contest of strength is the best way to characterize this contest that ended up making all men involved look better. There was no weak link or miscues at all, really, here, as Blade and Jungle Boy went at each other to start things off, running back and forth while delivering kicks, strikes, clotheslines, and elbows that really wore both competitors down. It started looking bad for Jurassic Express until Luchasaurus finally was tagged in. Blade tagged in Butcher, and suddenly two of the biggest guys in AEW, squared off in a pound and club fest back and forth. It eventually worked in Jurassic's favor when Jungle Boy joined the Dinosaur to beat down the Butcher. Blade was tagged in, quickly saw his partner taken off the ring apron, then finally got put down for good with a double assisted diamond cutter from Jurassic Express to give the fan favorite tag team a much needed 4-man tag win. In summary, fun match with good sound wrestling and battles of power and battles of power moves and strikes. 8.5 out of 10. This was an awesome match. This is what Jurassic Express should be. I do not like Marco Stunt. He's 100 pounds. He is too light. He literally does like full force leaping dives and people just catch him no problem. Whatever. The point is, originally, way back before they were even called Jurassic Express, it was always Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. That was it. This right here, this match is proof in point why Jurassic Express needs to axe Marco Stunt. This match was excellent. It was a 4-man tag match between two legit teams, not just two random people put together for one episode. Both were physical. The flow of the match was good. There was no silly, stupid shit. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. Another excellent match. Definitely. 8.5 out of 10. Nothing else to say. And then the main event match for this episode was the Inner Circle versus the Elite, Santana Ortiz and Sammy Guevara. No, sorry. Santana Ortiz and Jake Hager versus the Elite, which was Hangman Page, Cody Rhodes, and Matt Jackson, I believe. Yes, Matt Jackson. Yes, of course, Matt Jackson, because Kenny Omega has his hand hurt. The winner was Inner Circle for this match to give themselves the advantage in the Blood and Guts match, whenever that will be. This was a solid match with most of the action in the ring, with rules followed and the legal men always clear to understand. Good technical offensive power and strength that ended in the Inner Circle's favor. I didn't give it a score because it's not a legit format, but it was a good match. It was a solid match. It was clear to understand who was illegal. There wasn't fighting out of the ring. None of that silly shit. This whole episode, the matches what they were supposed to be. Everything made sense. It was in and around the ring. If it was outside the ring, it didn't run too long. People were selling moves. If they got hit with something, they were hurt by it. They didn't just recover from it, no problem. This whole episode, in my opinion, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Now, the three other parts, aside from the matches that we're going to be talking about here, is number one, the opening promo that Cody Rhodes did, where he called the Elite to band together, and he said, I need the Elite to be elite. And he said, I refuse to live in a prison of fear, and we still need entertainment, and we still need to go out there and give people something to love and to laugh about and to like be wowed by, because that is exactly what people need right now. And it was so true. It was definitely like the perfect message for this time. And then Hangman Page comes out and he doesn't say anything. He just has his drink and he's like, yeah, saying yes, he'll fight with them at Blood and Guts. Like that opening, and then they said hit the lights and let's get the show started. And then the lights came on, the fireworks came up, and man, oh man, that right there shows why AEW right now has a huge advantage over all the other promotions right now. None of the other promotions actually own a venue. And if they do, it's just some studio, small-ass crap. Look at what Daly's place is, and that's what AEW owns. They're able to, while this pandemic is going on, which is an unfortunate event, AEW is making the most of it by being able to put forward a great show for people to help us take our minds off what's going on, and they've got a clear-cut advantage here. The second thing we're going to be talking... Brody Lee came out and debuted as the Exalted One for the Dark Order, but to be honest with you, I gotta say, I'm excited that Brody Lee is with AEW. I've never really seen him wrestle. I never follow WWE, so I have to say that I am intrigued about what it's going to be like with him. But at the same time, I have to say, with all the factions in AEW right now, the Dark Order has been eclipsed. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You got the Elite, you got the Inner Circle, you got SCU, which now has Colt Cabana, as apparently you got the Best Friends, which is 3. You got Jurassic Express, which is 3. SCU with Colt Cabana. And you got Best Friends with Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, and Chuck Taylor. So you've got all of and you got Death Triangle. You got all of these factions. There's so many freaking factions that the Dark Order doesn't matter anymore. To me, the pound for pound, the best faction in AEW right now is SCU. Most definitely. Hands down. And I feel bad for Brody Lee because this is a big debut for him and people were excited to see him go with AEW. And the amount of factions they have killed the Dark Order. I'm going to talk about that a little further in a separate topics video. But anyway, he came out, he debuted, he gave a huge boot to Christopher Daniels and put him down. So I think SCU versus the Dark Order is going to be a feud going forward. I think it would be huge. That angle could be. And then of course, I have to talk about when Matt Hardy debuted. This is huge. It's huge, and it's on more than one level. I'm gonna say how the timeline worked for him to debut, and then when I get to the point where I'm talking about the moment where he was debuting, then we're going to talk about like the storyline and the character and how it made sense and how he might have done it and how they can write a storyline around this. And yeah, we're going to have some fun here. But first of all, when Vanguard 1 came over and started going down, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't really know what that was because I didn't watch Impact either. I got out of wrestling once WCW went out. I watched it here and there, but I never really got back into it until AEW came by, so I didn't know Vanguard 1, right? And then the piano started playing, and I'm like, oh my god, and I started panning over, and I lost my shit, man. I was doing like the NWO point, like right there. It was so great. It was just, I could not believe Matt Hardy went to AEW. And in 2016, he won Best Gimmick in the World by Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and I believe Wrestling Observer as well. And it was really great, and he wanted to bring it over to WWE. Vince didn't let him because Matt Hardy, rightfully and smart, he did not sell the gimmick to Vince McMahon or WWE. He kept it for himself. So he was never broken Matt Hardy in WWE. He was just some mediocre spin-off that Vince McMahon created called Woken Matt Hardy. And you know what? I'm glad it happened that way, because then it put a lot of frustration in Matt Hardy's mind, a lot of pent-up frustration and anger, and it compounded all these ideas that he wanted to do by adding more time and since then and more things he's wanted to do. So I think that this was Vince gave a blessing in disguise to AEW by not allowing any control over Matt Hardy, because now Matt Hardy has 3 years worth of ideas for the broken Matt Hardy saga that he's wanted to put forward that he hasn't been able to, but now he is, because AEW allows creative freedom. So, man, oh man, who knows what's going to be coming into play? I mean, like, now we're going to. The storyline here, how it works out so perfectly, is that Nick Jackson's wife is having a baby, and he had to be out for that. Matt Hardy's contract was over on March 1st. March 2nd is when he was fully able to go out and apply to other promotions and stuff like that. It was just so awesome that it fell in line perfectly. It was supposed to be in Rochester, New York, with thousands of fans because of this pandemic that's going on. It had to be at Daly's place, but it would have blew the roof off, but I think that it almost worked in Matt Hardy's favor, because when he was standing on that balcony, and I'm not gonna even try, he was just reviving the character. It was coming back awake. It was coming back to power. That's what was happening. And then he was like, delete, delete, and he did it 4 times, and then at the end he did it again. And then he was like, delete all, just delete, just say delete. Like, I think that if you look at it in terms of a storyline, he was deleting all the crowd, absorbing all their souls, all those people into him to give him power to move forward. This could really build up Matt Hardy huge. It could build Matt Hardy up huge. And I'm glad he didn't go with the Dark Order, because they suck. Evil Uno and Stu Grayson are a good tag team, yes, but as a full faction, as a full unit, Dark Order sucks. And I am so happy that Matt Hardy is going to be associated with. At this point, it seems like he's going to be associated with the Inner Circle he's going to be associated with the Elite rather than the Inner Circle, which makes perfect sense. But at the same time, they could end up feuding with Dark Order as well, although Dark Order seems to be in a feud with SCU right now. And, like, oh man, there's just so many angles they could go with this. It's just incredible. And when they had that empty stadium, and he was standing there and all the empty seats, and he was just reviving that character. And if you play along with storyline, if you play along with suspension of reality, he was saying to people, like, to me, he absorbed all those people. Damascus is so powerful. There's so many angles they could go with on this episode. Like, I cannot get over how good this episode was. I cannot get over how awesome Matt Hardy, how that was such an epic feeling moment. The piano spanning across the empty arena, him standing there, Damascus doing the delete, erasing all the crowd, absorbing all those souls, all those people into himself to bring himself back to power, to bring himself to life, into existence. Like, if Matt Hardy takes that and moves with that spin on it, I think he's got fucking gold here, man. Gold. And he's got a lot of pent-up. I don't know, obviously, but I would imagine he's got some kind of pent-up frustration around not being able to have done the broken gimmick in the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, obviously, otherwise he wouldn't have left WWE when they were offering him, like, millions to stay. So, oh my god. Vince's control freakism bit him in the ass on this, I think. That's what I'm saying. This episode, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. If you don't watch this episode, then if you watch this episode and come back and say it sucked for more reasons than just the fans not being there, then in my opinion, you don't like AEW. Awesome. Thanks for sticking by.